Hi, my name is Simone and I'm a Zen Mommy. Welcome to my channel about spiritual awakening and creator God consciousness. I want to talk about realizing your friends are fake. After your spiritual awakening or your God awakening, your creator God awakening, um, when you become conscious, you begin to see that you begin to realize things like that. You begin to realize if a person was really, your friend or really like I thought there's so many people I thought I was connected to, I thought I was friends with. And slowly but surely after this awakening, every single one of them have been proved to be fake. And when I say fake, I mean they weren't really my friend and they weren't who I really thought there was. That I was in an illusion thinking I had any kind of connection with these people. I remember, I grew up in this cult church and I've been talking about it a lot in these videos and I can't help it. It was a part of my experience and, subscribers have been asking me about my cult experience and I have been planning to talk about it a little bit more. So I guess for right now, we'll just use the examples I need to. So I was in this cult church at the age of 14 until I was an adult. And the church was a cult. So they frowned upon, we were not allowed to have outside relationships, friendships, family relationships if they weren't going to the church. So everybody in the church, they're like, we're your family, we're your friends, you don't need them. And so I was connected to these people and there were certain people that I thought I was really close to, the certain people I looked up to. There were people that I considered like a godmother or a play mother. And, it was people I grew up in my foster home that and I thought we were, God, I was in such an illusion in that church. I hate to say it, like I really thought, like they really masqueraded as if they loved each other so much. We love you, Sister Simone. We love each other. We're all God. Not God. We're all one and we're all loving each other. We help each other. When you're sick, they took care of you. They came to your house and they brought you food. They cleaned your house. They gave you rides, brought you things you needed while you were sick. And it just seemed like a beautiful experience from that perspective when I was in there. I was like, oh, I was an orphan and this church took me in and this is my family now. These are my friends. And the moment I left that church, the first thing I did is, I left the church as an adult. They cut me off from having friends, so I never manifested real friends. And so the first thing I wanted to do is I tried to connect with all the people who had left the church or was kicked out of the church. I was thinking, well, we were friends when we were there, and now they're not there, and I'm not there, so we have something in common. And so I began to reach out to them. And I realized none of them gave a damn about me. Like I tried, and there was this last person who, I was friends with, and she was an older lady. She was like, she was like my play mom. And I had lost my mom at a young age. I was taken away from my mom in foster care at a young age. And she had her children taken away from her. So one day we talked in church and we really connected. And I was like, oh, we've been through the same thing. We thought God brought us together. And, I was just like, oh, that's so sweet. And I really loved her so much. I really did. Like, everybody else's love might have been fake, but mine was real. I love those people. And so when I first left, I tried to reach out to her. And she was like, hi. And I commented. Like, I tried to email her. She didn't respond. on Facebook. Then I commented on one. She accepted my friend request. And so I tried to comment, and she would say, "Oh, thank you, hi." And I would say, she was like, I said, "We should get together." She'll be like, "Call me sometimes." And I'm like, "I don't have your number." And so I ask her for her number. She never responds. I send her a direct message. She doesn't respond. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I just kind of, I don't know what's going on. Maybe she's too busy with her busy life. She was kind of famous. Well, not famous, but her dad was like a governor or a mayor or something. So she was up there, with the elites and knew a lot of people. So I figured she was just busy, right? And I started getting into sound bowl healing, and I posted a video of me doing sound bowls. And she had been on a path. I had been watching her feed. She had took ayahuasca. She went to Rhythmia. And I was like, oh, we can relate now. Maybe she'll talk to me if I tell her that I've done ayahuasca a little while. And, I told her I've done ayahuasca before. And she was like, oh, that's great. And she was like, we had a great experience. Me and my husband with ayahuasca. One day we should do it together. And that's what she said, and never talked to me again. Then one day, after I started my sound bowl, I started posting videos of me doing the crystal bowls. So after she was into ayahuasca, she's now into spirituality. And she saw me with the bowls and contacted me. And she was just like, Simone, sister, it is time for our reunion. And I was like, oh, finally, she's reaching out to me. We can finally have the connection we had while I was in church. And she tells me, she said, I'm starting this group. So basically she had this group. It was like a group of women on a live stream where you kind of talk about spirituality, whatever. And so she tells me she wants me to join this group. And I think she gives me her number, and I was just like, oh, okay. No, she asked me for my phone number. I give her my phone number, and she gives me a link to join this group with these other women. I don't know these women. I never met these women. She didn't explain to me what was going on. She just was like, come here. And I'm like, what? Why? I gave you my number. Why aren't you calling me? Why don't you want to talk to me? Why don't you want to connect? And, don't you want to know how I arrived at my spiritual journey after what we've been through, anything. And so she just was like, next thing you know, I get a message from her. I was like, oh, she's finally texting me. And she puts me in a group message with a group full of women that I never met before. And not only that, these messages are going off all day long. And I was just like, okay. I said, look, can y'all take me out of this? These are, basically when you were in a group and your cell phone is always going beep, beep, beep all day long, and, being a sound healer and working in this business, and I need quiet. And so I was just like, look, I need to go off of this. It's making too much noise. And, but at this point, I was kind of furious and upset and done with her about this. I was like, I can't believe this. And so I decided, usually I'm the kind of person, I would cut you off and I wouldn't leave you alone, and I'm done, right? But something in me was like, no, I need to tell her something. That's messed up, And so I told her, look, Piper, hopefully I'll try to erase it. I said, look, I say to her, when I contact, when we were in church, I really loved you. You were like a mother to me. And, I expected us to talk. I gave you my phone number, and you sent me to a group chat. And to a group chat, and you put my number in a group chat, and then you gave me a link to talk to you guys on a group channel without even connecting to you first. And I was just like, that hurt my feelings. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And like I really felt like and so she was like, oh, my sister. That's what she says. And so she says, let me explain. I was like, oh, okay, this ought to be good. And she says, when I was in the church, I was just scared because, everybody, when you leave the church, everybody's trying to get you to go back. And I didn't know if you were really out of the church. And I didn't know if you were going to be trying to get me to go back and stuff. And I'm like, okay, what about asking me? I didn't say that though. I just was like, okay, fine, I understand. But I was thinking, you could have asked me, I thought I made it clear that I was out. If you were following me on my journey, I'm a spiritual YouTuber. In fact, I've showed you posts, so it's obvious. But I let it go. I decided to go with her. I'm scared to connect with people from there. And she said inviting me to the group was her safety net. She felt like to keep her, that she felt safe. And so in this process, she said all of that, and then she finally talked to me. And so, we talked for a little bit. And, without going into the whole story, in which I may go into it later when it deems to be fitting for the conversation, I tried to, connect with her, and even, we're going to start a retreat together, Well, she was like, oh, I was telling her my dream was to have a retreat. And, she had the location, she had the money, and she had, medicine, psychedelic medicine. And she was just like, you should do this retreat with me, and, and you could, announce it to your subscribers and stuff like that. And so I was like, oh, cool. I was so excited for this journey. And I thought it was I thought it was going to bring us closer together, but I started to notice something. When I went to meet her, she wanted to invite me over where there was people already over the house. And then on top of that, she was like, won't you bring your husband and kid? And so we never really got to be alone and connect. And I was just like, okay, maybe she just focused on trying to start this business and whatnot. And then afterwards, after that, she was going through something. I said, how about let's have a girls' night? I tried to come over. I tried to, and I realized she didn't really want to connect or talk at all. And I began to find, and this is what I mean by find out people, and not to say, when I say fake, I'm not saying it to insult her or anybody else. When I'm saying fake is, it wasn't an authentic relationship. It wasn't an authentic friendship. And I began to look back to when I was young. So one of the things is when we were talking to her, one thing I noticed about her when she talked, she always wanted to talk about, because she's from, I told you she was from a family that was in the government. And so she wanted to talk a lot about other people and celebrities, and, she wanted to take our retreat she wanted to be arrhythmia and wanted to host celebrities and have concerts. And I couldn't really connect with her like that, because you know me, you guys know me. You know that I respect ayahuasca way too much to be trying to have a concert at a retreat with her. And so I couldn't really connect and talk to her. In fact, she never opened up about herself. She wanted to focus on the people, the haves and the have-nots, and the investors, and and I just started to realize there was no depth. And then I looked back from when we was a child, and I just remember she used to tell me all those stories about who this and this person she met and the experience she had. She was actually, in a Disney movie. Not her, but her story was in a Disney movie, and another actor played her as a child. And so I began to realize there was no authenticity in this relationship. And what I thought she was like a playboy. It was really a desperate girl, me, in an attempt to form a bond with the feminine, with a feminine or a mother figure role model. And I wanted to form it so much. I took her, the way she was. It's just how she was. She likes talking about, these exotic experiences, the rich, the fancy. I took that as interest in me, like, oh, she's explaining to me this stuff, but I realized this is just was her personality. It was no real depth to it. Now, this is one experience, but I pretty much narrowed it down, like in the last 6 months or year, that all of my relationships has been this way. You know, I had a foster sister that I went to church with, and I thought we was really close, you know, and, you know, growing up in that church, and we had a foster mom who was really cruel and strict. You know, we had each other, I thought. And I remember, you know, while we was in church, after I left church, she left church way before me, okay? And, you know, at first when she left, we couldn't talk much because of the beliefs, the rules. You know, you can't talk to people who don't come to the church anymore. So I kind of had to stay away from her. But when I left, you know, she had decided, after she left church, she ended up marrying a woman. So our church was completely against that. And she thought that I was going to judge her. And I reached out to her. I said, look, I understand you're getting married, and I wanted to congratulate you, and I want you to know that I don't judge you. I don't hold those beliefs anymore, and I want to support you. You know, I told her, you know, that was my sister. That was the sister that I knew, you know, my foster sister. And so she, you know, accepted me. At that time, she had let me come to the wedding. But then later, I guess you know, she left. She just left, disappeared. Where is she? For a long time, I was looking for her. When me and my husband got together, I finally found her. And when I finally found her, there's no connection the way it used to be. She never wanted to talk. She never wanted to connect. When she did want to talk, she wanted to talk about one thing that I did that made her angry a long time ago that I didn't do. It was, she had and I didn't do anything. She had a dream, right? And in the dream, I made her mad. And I was trying to tell her, look, that is a dream. I didn't do that. And she never would let it go. She doesn't understand I think it was some type of spiritual, psychic thing that was going on with her, this experience she had. But I was trying to explain to her that this guy, someone right here, is not doing that. And, you know, and so we talked again, but she never, responds, doesn't talk much, doesn't anything. She just kind of stopped. And I began to realize, this is one of the reasons why I let go of Facebook and Instagram. I began to realize every last person I knew there, they didn't really care. They didn't care about me. They weren't worried about me. The whole thing, they were in church, they were pretending to like me. They didn't like me. I was the only authentic person there. And anyways, I started to begin to see that. When I decided to cut off Facebook, a lot of people that used to go to church was on my Facebook. A lot of people from my past was on my Facebook. And I decided to cut off every energy cord connected to them. Because you don't talk to me, but what you're doing is you're staying nosy in my business, you know. There's one girl who makes it a point to go around telling people, Simone got a YouTube channel. People who used to go to the church, in a gossiping manner, like trying to make fun of me because I done left the church and I'm talking about spirituality. And so recently, one church member came to me recently, and she was the one that was gossiped to. So, you know, she might have meant it for evil, but we meant it for good. And so she gossiped. The girl tells me, she was like, this ex-sister of the church was like, Simone got a YouTube channel, girl. You need to check it out, what she's talking about. And so she looked at it and immediately was connected. She believed everything I said. And so that was one. But me and her, we knew each other, but we didn't have a relationship. Like we didn't have a friendship. So we're just now developing after she found me on YouTube. She found me on YouTube, she believes, and she told me that Lee was gossiping and be telling people. And I see now, people like her, who was on my Facebook page, okay, trying to, being a fake friend and gossiping about me behind my back. Anyways, and so I begin to realize that the amount of negative energy that these fake people send to you, it's not worth it. So I got rid of Facebook and I cut them off. The thing is, when you post something, you receive a lot of energy back, when you're a content creator. And whether it's negative, positive, your cords connect to every viewer, every person who watched you. And when these people from your past, they see stuff like this kind of stuff I talk about, they will easily judge. Their judgments gets into my energy field. And see, they don't deserve to be there. They don't deserve to be on my timeline, on my friendship, or anything else. And so it's a rude awakening to realize your friends was fake. But the moment me and my husband, when we made this move, we decided to make a big shift together. The day we left, we drove, for days, leaving California. And the day we left, we got on Facebook, we permanently deleted both accounts. We got on Instagram, permanently deleted all accounts. And I have never felt better. It felt like a release of energy. Like they don't care. I used to think maybe they'll hear this and wake up from that stuff. Maybe they'll hear this and see. But you know what? It's not for them. It's not for them. And so beware. If you haven't experienced it yet, you may realize that people in your life aren't really authentic in the first place. And then when you're on our journey of authenticity, you definitely need to connect with more authentic people. I made one more friend. This friend wasn't from the church. I actually met her through the YouTube channel. And she came to me early on when I was talking about leaving narcissistic relationships and healing and stuff. She was in a similar situation. She had a child. She was all alone. And I felt so bad for her. So I helped her for free. She didn't have a lot of money. I helped her for free. And, she was like, I want to be your friend. And, this was my first time. I'm really careful now about the whole friendship thing. This was my first time. I was like, okay, I would talk to her. And, our friendship turned into me being a dumpster for every negative experience she was having, to the point where she was affecting my vibration big time. She would tell me, I'll be doing good, enjoying time with my family. And she would say something that was going on, stuff was going toxic. She was getting beat up her family was punching her, and just different stuff was going on at home. And she would always come, she never came to me really with the good stuff. She was just like, oh, what do I do now? I did this thing happened. And I would be going erratic trying to help her out of this situation. And I realized that it was keeping my frequency low. And at one point, man, I had a couple years ago, my husband and I was pregnant, and I had a miscarriage. And during that time, it was right before the miscarriage. She started to send me some very disgusting pictures of her sister's miscarriage. And I said, what? I immediately cut her off after that. I said, look, I can't deal with you. I said, you're not even thinking, that I'm this is not what I need to see. I'm pregnant, I'm having a baby. And she didn't get it. I tried to explain to her, so I cut her off, right? About a year or two later, she messaged me saying she was doing better, and she sounded like she raised her vibration and she was doing better. So I started talking to her again. Again, I turned into a garbage can and dumped. And I would tell her, look, listen, you don't have to lead with everything negative going on with you. You can say, I'm having a bad day, something, but she would go into the most toxic details. And I don't want to listen to this. I'm working on my frequency, but when I talk to you, my frequency automatically drops 20 degrees. And so it just got to the point where I was helping her, right? And she was like in this living in this toxic family situation. And I was like, okay, I said, you need to move. And I kind of, tried to suggest to her, how to get out, how to be self-sufficient. Like gave her some suggestions of what I did. She followed some of those suggestions and was able to land an apartment. And so I was so happy for her because I was like, your vibration's gonna change when you get out of with your family. The family was constantly doing stuff to her, calling her a witch, just treating her so. Everything she was telling me, like imagine being an empath, hearing this, it was hurting me. And it not only was hurting me, it was bringing my vibration down, it was affecting my family. And my family, I have 2 empath men in my family, my son and my husband, and they cannot handle these low frequencies. And so I told her again, I said, look, you can't, I told her you should get this apartment. So at the last minute, after she has this situation, this program where they're paying for it and working things out, the last minute she decides, I don't want that apartment, I'll try to get another one. And after everything it took for her to get this place, and I was thinking, what are you doing? It doesn't matter. Look at what you're going through. You have to be worried about you and your son's safety. And when I realized that, I realized immediately, I said, whoa, this God wants to create this situation. And there's nothing I can do about it if that's what she wants on a higher level. So I then walked away. I said, look, I can't no more, And so I didn't say I can't no more. I explained to her she can't be telling me stuff like this. She can't be going into detail. I can't, that this vibration affects my family. And so she blocks me on everything. And I was like, okay, fine. I tried to check on her once. I noticed she unsubscribed from my email list. And so I checked on her, are you okay? And, at that point, she's like, who is this? Because she done deleted and blocked me, so she don't know my number. And I was like, okay, I got you. I said, I got you. And so I let it go, fine. You want to block me? I blocked her on my phone so I wouldn't get any more messages. But since she blocked me on Facebook, the Facebook has a thing, if they block you, you can't block them once they're blocked. Or at least that's how it used to be. She had blocked me, but she decided to unblock me because she was going through another toxic situation, and she desperately wanted me to tell her what to do and help her through this. Really, she was like, this is the most severe toxic. She was like, she didn't say that. She was just saying she's in an excruciating, really bad situation, and it was hard for me because you don't understand. I love people. I wanted to help her. I wanted to be there for her. I just couldn't. I couldn't be a garbage can. And it was hard for me to not be like, okay, what's going on? I had to, I looked at her message and I blocked her. I didn't even respond. I said, I'm just gonna block her. I'm done with this. She blocked me and she doesn't get to decide when to come to me. And, oh my God, this video's going so long. Let me wrap this up. She doesn't get to decide when to come to me. And so after I blocked her, she decided to send me an email, a very upset email. She noticed I blocked her. And she can't help but to think that I'm blocking her because she's going through things. And I sent her email back telling her, look, I said, I tried to be there for you. I tried to help you. You were like a friend to me. And the thing is, my vibration cannot handle the things that you talk about. It's affected my family. And I said, you'll be okay. You're a God. You got this. You can get out of this, whatever situation it is. I sent her the email. I blocked her on the email and let her go. After that, I guess I don't know if she tried to respond, she decides to fill out a form for coaching. And once she fills out the form for coaching, I get the request, and then she explains in the form what the situation was. I still didn't respond. I was like, no. I wanted to respond. And my husband was like, don't do it, Simone. I've seen you. You're going too much up and down emotionally. And so I didn't respond. Okay. And I'm saying this to say this is how it ended. Okay, so I didn't respond, and I didn't hear from her again. The next thing you know, her sister, the one who was beating her up, sends me an inbox message, a very nasty message, telling me that, my mom doesn't love me and I'm fake. And she just said all these nasty things, come and fight her and all this stuff. I immediately blocked her. Then I get to my email address, and guess what? Somebody has signed me up for my email address for all kind of porn listings. And so realizing your friends is fake is something that happens on this journey. And, you know, it's hard, you know, especially the past friends, you know. The current friend, I didn't expect that to happen with the current friend, but that's my own fault for, you know, allowing it. When I was new to this journey, I didn't know a whole lot about energy and what I was bringing into my energy. And because of that, you may have noticed I started deleting a lot of those videos about narcissism and, you know, kind of what I went through when I started this journey. And I deleted that because I realized that I have shifted. I'm on a new timeline. And those videos were attracting a certain frequency of people. I am so thankful that I took that journey and turned it around, healed, became awakened, came on this creator God journey, became more conscious, became more self-sufficient, more reliable. But, you know, I realized that was my thing. That was my journey. And I thought that I had to help every other girl get from that space, that toxic space that, you know, a toxic relationship can put you in. But I had to realize they're creator gods, and however they're creating it, as long as they want to stay in that energy, that's their experience. And all I can decide is, for me and my experience, is I don't want to play that game. I don't want to play that game. See, because it's a game that they're playing. And you make the decision of what games you want to play. So, okay, 30-minute video. Did not mean for this to be 30 minutes. I'm going to let this go now. I just wanted to mention that, sorry, I just overshared a little there. But sometimes on this journey, you do come to the conclusion where you realize that some friends are just not authentic. And, you know, it's a part of the journey. It can feel really lonely, but keep working on your vibration. Keep focusing on that positive frequency, and you will begin to align with people who are more of a match for your vibration. Okay? So thank you for watching. Sign up for my email list if you resonate with my channel. Don't forget to like and press the bell button. And thank you for watching.